My first try, I played just some like over-the-top blues lick. Something like that, like a very 80s David Sanborn vibe. Hey everybody, Jay Serrato here, Jay Serrato Music. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you how to record a killer pop saxophone solo. Ever since I was a kid, I'd hear these iconic solos by legendary musicians like Michael Brecker or David Sanborn, Gerald Albright, and I always thought that they would just come in and improvise the whole thing from beginning to end in 1 or 2 takes. And even though I know they could do that, even masters on that level would stop and make edits along the way, or they would stop and compose the perfect solo for that song. And so I just put out a single with a pop solo on it, and we're going to use that as an example to show you my approach to recording the perfect pop solo for any song. So the song is Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You. I did an instrumental cover. It's out now. I want you to go check it out. And we're going to break down my solo and how I took it from beginning to end. Okay, yeah, so that's it. 16 bars. It's in my E on an alto. So it starts with E major 7 for 4 bars. There's a little turnaround, which we'll talk about here in a second, and it goes to the 4 chord, A major 7. So like the most common chord progression in jazz or pop, right? Probably is going from the 1 to the 4. So that's what we do here. And 2 bars of A major 7, and then the last 2 bars, it goes to A minor 7, and that's what takes us back to the top. It does that twice for 16 bars. It's only about a 30-second solo. Let's listen to how it starts, right? So, starts with something like, yeah. Okay, so there I was definitely in like a Christmas Carol, Frosty the Snowman, Frosty the Snowman, Jingle Bells kind of vibe. So I started with that. I like that it's a very strong rhythmic motif, something that's going to catch the listener's ear right away. All right, so I'm going on. Okay, so that little lick right there. So I'm just outlining the chords that are right there on the chart. It's a little half-step walk down to the 4 chord. This is how I practice new songs already, all the time. The first thing I do when I'm learning the chords is I play arpeggios over all the chords. But I just did a little variation of that where I started on the 7 and I arpeggiate down. So super basic, just very clear outlining of the harmony. All right, let's see what happens next. Okay. And I end on a B, which is the 9, right, of that chord. So it's just a nice melodic way to end a phrase. That kind of reminds me of, you know, it's almost the same thing. It's nice to put something like a little jazzier touch on a Christmas tune like this. All right, let's see what's going on next. What do we do next? If you notice, the last lick ended on a B, right? And then this next phrase starts on that same note. And that's a trick that I love to use. I love to start my phrases on the same note that I ended the previous phrase. That's a nice little melody hack that you can use. That's like starting on the 9 and playing your minor arpeggio. And going back down on the 9. So it could be. So very clear, concise outlining of the harmony. That's all it is. Measure 8 was the first time where I didn't quite nail what I wanted to do the first time, and I kind of had to hit pause and figure out what I was going to do. I just recorded this a couple days ago, so all of this is still fresh for me, but I remember playing something like, yeah, and then maybe even, and because I've been doing that as a warm-up a lot lately. I'll do something like, so I was doing something like that. Yeah, but it eventually turned into what it became was, yeah. So yeah, let's see what happens next. Okay. That's more bebop stuff. So there, this is a big moment in the solo because that's the last phrase of the first half of the solo going into the first phrase of the second half of the solo. So I thought, let's throw the listener a little bit of a curveball and let's delay or suspend the resolution of that chord. So I said, and I think it came out of me playing around with that. I decided, let's do something like, all right, let's get to the next phrase. Okay, so that is all bebop scale stuff, and I know the chord there says E major 7, but I wanted to treat this chord differently the second time around, and that's all I did right here. And that's just standard bebop stuff that I work on all the time. Stuff like that, because I knew, all right, let's intentionally treat this like a dominant so that when we go to that 4 chord, it's gonna feel nice. So yeah, that's all I did right there. All right, let's see what happens next. Okay, let's listen to that one more time. Okay, so this is another one where I wasn't sure what I was going to play the first time. A cool trick that I hear a lot of master musicians do is they go from a regular dominant sound to an altered dominant sound before they finally resolve it, so that when it resolves, it feels really cool. So I worked up this line. It took me a second, and it ended up kind of sounding like. Then it hit me. I was like, oh, those are actually the exact notes that are being played in that B flat minor 9 that's on the last beat of that measure. Yeah, let's keep going. Let's see what happens next. So you hear that. I wanted to play longer notes. I wanted to do wider intervals. And I wanted to play a higher note than I'd played any other point in the solo because I wanted to give the listener the feeling like something's happening, something's about to happen. So that's why I chose to play that little line at the end. It's also a cool melody. That's like the NBC theme song. Nice little melodic line for a reason. Okay, let's see what happens next. Okay, so we're at the end of the solo, and I wanted to end it really big with a big bluesy lick, like a minor pentatonic lick, a la David Sanborn, something to bring it on home, right? My first try, I played just some like over-the-top blues lick. Something like that, like a very 80s David Sanborn vibe. And then I looked at the chart and I realized, oh, they're actually playing A minor. And then so it made me think right away, well, E minor and A minor, there's only one note difference in those two scales. It would be hip to alternate between E and A. So that's what I do here. Look at the chart on the screen, and I end up playing. Those pickups are really just A minor, right? Right, and then it goes straight into the same kind of scale, but in E. flat 5. It's very E minor pentatonic bluesy thing. That's all E, and then I finish with. I could have done a switch where I did pentatonic scales a half step away or a tritone away, and it would have been, yeah, it would have been a hip sound, but it might not have been right for this solo, right? So I went with and yeah, that's like the big bring it on home bluesy lick. So yeah, let's listen to it. Let's listen. Here we go. Yeah, and that's it. That's the whole solo right there. We can just use basic techniques like rhythmic motif, the way we started this one, where we do like a call and response or something that's very recognizable to catch the listener's ear. We also stuck with chord tones and arpeggios to give a very solid outline of the harmony of the solo. If we did step out, we stepped out very subtly, not a lot. We didn't take it into outer space. We always want to be aware of who the audience is. Most importantly, probably, is we made sure to fit in some blues scales, some blues language in there. Hey, thanks again for watching the video. Really appreciate it. Go check out the song. It's out now everywhere. Download the PDF of the solo here. I'll pin it in the comment section. I didn't write any of this solo down when I was actually recording. I transcribed it afterwards when I was getting ready for this video. If the solo was a little bit longer, then maybe I would have needed to write some of it down. But I like to usually work things out in my head, memorize it real quick, and then hit record, even if I have to go for one phrase at a time. But for something this short, I was able to memorize it and then get it knocked out pretty easy. Okay, so I hope all that helps. I want y'all to enjoy the song and have a very safe and happy holiday season, and share the song with all your loved ones too. We'll see you soon. Appreciate it. Bye.